Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Warriors GM shares Steve Kerr contract update, and it might not be what fans want to hear. Steve Kerr's contract with the Golden State Warriors is set to expire after the 2025-26 season, and so far, there's been no movement on an extension. For fans hoping to see Kerr remain at the helm, that news may be hard to swallow. If Kerr were to step away, it would leave Stephen Curry with just 1 year left on his deal, a scenario that could effectively signal the closing chapter of a dynasty that began in 2015, one that still features Draymond Green as a core piece. Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy recently spoke about this sensitive situation, sharing both his admiration for Kerr and his respect for the coach's autonomy. Dunleavy respects Kerr's timeline, no pressure for extension. Speaking on the TK Show podcast with Tim Kawakami, Dunleavy made it clear, there's no pressure coming from the front office. While he'd love to see Kerr re-sign, he's not pushing the issue. On a personal level, I'd love to have Steve locked in. He's an incredible coach for our team and for the organization, Dunleavy said. But Steve's earned the right to make that decision in his own time. He's done so much, I'm not going to pressure him into anything. The message is clear, Dunleavy trusts Kerr to know when the time is right, whether that's to stay or to step away. You want a coach who, when it's time to move on, does it for the right reasons, for himself and for the franchise, Dunleavy added. A veteran core, and one last run? Despite the uncertainty surrounding Kerr's future, the Warriors are staying committed to their veteran core. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and now Jimmy Butler continue to lead the charge, as the franchise goes all in on what may be its final championship window. Interestingly, this shift suggests the team may be ready to move on from rising star Jonathan Kuminga, who entered free agency this offseason. The Warriors' recent moves prioritize proven leadership over long-term youth development, a sign that they're focused on winning now, not later. Last season, this veteran-heavy roster proved it could still compete, making a deep playoff run before an injury to Curry dashed their title hopes. With time ticking, the urgency is unmistakable. Could this be the final chapter? The upcoming season might be the last realistic shot at a title for this legendary group. With 4 championships already under Kerr, 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022, the chase for one final ring feels even more meaningful and emotional. Honestly, I feel like Steve can coach here as long as he wants, Dunleavy concluded. We'll figure out the contract stuff along the way. But as the future hangs in the balance, so does the fate of one of the NBA's greatest dynasties. Whether or not Kerr stays, one thing is clear, the clock is ticking, and this season might be their last dance. Kerr's legacy and the weight of the moment. Steve Kerr's legacy in Golden State is already cemented. He's not just a coach, he's been a culture setter, a leader who turned a good team into a dynasty. With his calm demeanor, innovative strategies, and unwavering belief in unselfish basketball, Kerr helped revolutionize the modern NBA. And now, with his future uncertain, the Warriors face a pivotal moment that goes beyond wins and losses. Players, fans, and analysts alike are beginning to speculate. What does Kerr stepping away mean not just for the team, but for the identity of the franchise? It would be hard to imagine the Warriors without Steve, said one anonymous league executive, according to reports circulating in the media. He's been the heartbeat of their run. If he goes, that might signal a true changing of the guard. Stephen Curry's clock is ticking too. Perhaps the most pressing element of this story is its direct impact on Stephen Curry. The two-time MVP will enter the final year of his contract if Kerr departs after 2025-26, and while Curry has remained loyal, the shifting ground around him raises questions about what's next. Steph and Steve have a unique bond, said former teammate Andre Iguodala in a recent interview. If Steve walks away, it'll affect how Steph sees the rest of his journey. Would Curry consider retiring, asking for a trade, or extending his career elsewhere to chase another ring? While there's no indication of such intentions now, the uncertainty is beginning to loom over even the most faithful fans. Front office at a crossroads. Mike Dunleavy Jr., now fully in charge after taking over from Bob Myers, finds himself navigating one of the toughest balancing acts in modern sports, honoring the past, managing the present, and preparing for the future. The decision to keep building around veterans like Curry, Green, and now Jimmy Butler shows a win-now mindset, but also a gamble. Butler, while still a top-tier competitor, brings his own health risks and playoff mileage. Meanwhile, letting go of young talent like Jonathan Kuminga, or simply sidelining their development, could hurt the Warriors' long-term flexibility. Critics are already asking, is Golden State mortgaging its future for one last title run? And if that run fails, what's left? A franchise on the edge. With the Western Conference only getting tougher, the rise of young teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the ever-competitive Denver Nuggets, the margin for error is razor-thin. The Warriors are not guaranteed another deep playoff run. And if this year doesn't go according to plan, they could be left staring down a full-blown rebuild. In that case, Kerr walking away could be just the beginning. The front office may need to consider reshaping the entire franchise, from coaching to roster, in a post-Kerr, post-Curry world. It's a reality no Warriors fan wants to confront, but one that now feels closer than ever. If the 2025-26 season is truly the swan song for Steve Kerr and this legendary core, it won't just be the end of an era, it could be the closing of one of the most memorable chapters in NBA history. Sacramento Kings ready to move on from $96 million star, eyeing Jonathan Kuminga as future cornerstone. The Sacramento Kings are undergoing a major transformation this offseason, and that means making bold, sometimes painful decisions. As the franchise looks to reshape its identity, it's becoming clear they're ready to part ways with some familiar faces in pursuit of a younger, more promising core. After an up-and-down season that left fans frustrated, the Kings signaled a new direction by parting ways with head coach Mike Brown mid-season. Soon after, they made another shocking move, trading franchise guard De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs in a blockbuster deal. In return, they acquired Zach LaVine, reuniting him with his former Bulls teammate DeMar DeRozan. But just a few months into this new experiment, the Kings seem to be shifting gears again. A short-lived bet on LaVine, and a new target in Kuminga. According to Sam Amick of The Athletic, Sacramento is no longer planning to bring back Zach LaVine, despite his all-star resume and a contract worth over $96 million through the 2026-27 season, including a player option. While LaVine is technically eligible for an extension this summer, league sources confirm that the Kings have no interest in committing to a long-term deal. The reason? Sacramento wants youth, upside, and long-term potential, and LaVine, at age 30 with an injury history, no longer fits that vision. Instead, the Kings are reportedly setting their sights on Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga, a 21-year-old athletic marvel with untapped potential and defensive versatility. Though it's unclear whether the Warriors are willing to part ways with Kuminga, and his restricted free agency could complicate matters, the Kings' interest signals a larger shift in their team-building philosophy. They're not just shopping for names, one executive told The Athletic. They're looking for pieces they can actually grow with. Kuminga represents that kind of piece. Even if a deal for Kuminga doesn't happen, the message is loud and clear: Sacramento is done with stopgap stars. They want a future, not just flashes of the past. Haunted by the Haliburton trade. Of course, part of Sacramento's urgency comes from a painful lingering mistake that still echoes around the league: the decision to trade Tyrese Haliburton. Drafted 12th overall, Haliburton was supposed to be a foundational piece. But in 2022, the Kings made the controversial decision to trade him to Indiana for Domantas Sabonis, choosing to build around De'Aaron Fox instead. While the Kings did make a brief playoff appearance with Fox, Haliburton blossomed into a superstar with the Pacers, leading them to 2 conference finals and a trip to the NBA Finals. Now, neither of those 2 players are on the roster. Fox demanded a trade this past season and was dealt in February. Sabonis, though productive, has struggled to carry the team on his own. And Haliburton? He's become exactly the kind of player the Kings desperately need: young, smart, unselfish, and unshakably confident. The Kings' new vision, before it's too late. The Kings aren't just trying to rebuild. They're trying to correct course. With the Western Conference growing younger and deeper, think Thunder, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, and Spurs, Sacramento can't afford to be stuck in the middle. They've paid the price for past mistakes, and now they're betting big on a new path, one centered on youth, development, and potential. Whether or not Jonathan Kuminga becomes a king, he represents the kind of player Sacramento is now chasing, not just for today, but for the future. The road ahead won't be easy. But for the first time in years, the Kings might finally be making decisions with tomorrow in mind, not yesterday. What this means for the Kings' future. This dramatic shift in direction isn't just about moving players in and out, it's about rewriting the Kings' entire organizational philosophy. After years of inconsistency, Sacramento is finally acknowledging what so many fans and analysts have been saying: you can't shortcut your way to success in the NBA. Big names without long-term vision won't get you far. Letting go of Zach LaVine, or at least not extending him, is part of a bigger reset. LaVine's scoring punch is undeniable, but his contract, age, and injury concerns don't align with Sacramento's timeline. Releasing that weight allows the Kings to regain flexibility and reallocate resources toward younger talent that fits a more sustainable vision. Their interest in Jonathan Kuminga, even if it doesn't lead to a deal, signals a shift toward players who are still climbing, not players already at or past their peak. The ripple effect around the league. This pivot by Sacramento is also being watched closely by teams across the league. With LaVine's future in question and his value diminished, it puts the Bulls, his former team, in a curious position, having offloaded a player that now seems to be in NBA limbo. Meanwhile, the Warriors are now in the spotlight too, with Kuminga entering restricted free agency and multiple teams reportedly circling him as a potential breakout star. If Golden State decides not to match an offer for Kuminga, Sacramento could pounce. But even if that door remains closed, it's clear the Kings will stay aggressive in pursuing players in that mold: young, athletic, defensively capable, and still evolving. Several insiders have speculated that the Kings could turn their attention to other promising wings, such as R.J. Barrett, if the Raptors explore changes, or Tari Eason of the Rockets, depending on his health status. The team is also expected to be active in summer trade talks and may explore moving DeRozan if he doesn't fit their new long-term plan. Fans are divided, but hopeful. Among Kings fans, reactions have been mixed, and understandably emotional. The loss of Haliburton still stings, and some feel burned by the instability of the last few seasons. However, many are cautiously optimistic about the front office finally embracing a longer-term strategy rather than trying to fast-track success. "I'd rather lose with a plan than win one round with no direction," one fan posted on Reddit. "We've seen what happens when we chase names. Let's try building something real this time." Others see the Kuminga pursuit as a symbolic moment, a sign that Sacramento is no longer trying to outspend smarter teams, but outdevelop them. A franchise at a turning point. The truth is, the Kings don't just need better players, they need better cohesion. They need a clearer identity, one that isn't built around short-term fixes or legacy trades. The mistakes of the past, from the Haliburton deal to the Fox situation, have cost them years of momentum. But now, for the first time in a while, they seem ready to turn the page. What happens next will depend on how willing the front office is to stay patient, to resist the temptation of a flashy trade or overpriced veteran. It will also depend on whether they can create a development structure strong enough to actually grow the talent they acquire. As the 2025-26 season approaches, one thing is clear: Sacramento is done pretending to be a contender. Now they're trying to build one, the right way. Warriors gift rival Suns exactly what they wanted in a surprising draft night deal. Now this is an eye-opener. Just hours before the second round of the NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors pulled off a quiet but intriguing trade, and it was with none other than their Pacific Division rivals, the Phoenix Suns. According to Shams Charania, The Athletic, Golden State has agreed to send the 41st overall pick to Phoenix in exchange for the 52nd and 59th picks. While that might seem like a subtle swap, it's a move that could carry sneaky implications for both teams, and fans are already buzzing about the strategy behind it. Why the Suns are celebrating. From Phoenix's perspective, this is exactly what they were hoping for. Coming into the draft short on assets and needing low-cost contributors, moving up to 41 gives the Suns a better shot at landing a real rotation piece, someone who might have slipped through the first round but still has high upside. Even more so given the strong buzz around their interest in Rasheer Fleming, a versatile forward who's been rising on draft boards. They've already traded up to 31 earlier in the night, signaling that the Suns aren't just browsing, they're buying. But what's in it for the Warriors? That's where it gets interesting. At first glance, the deal seems lopsided. Why would Golden State drop 11 spots just to pick up the very last pick in the draft? It feels like they're giving Phoenix exactly what they wanted, without getting much in return. But there may be a deeper game at play. Sources close to the team suggest the Warriors are targeting a specific player who they believe will still be available at 52, a gamble, yes, but one they've made work in the past. And history might just back them up. In 2023, Golden State struck gold with a 52nd pick, selecting Quinton Post, a 7-footer who provided a much-needed stretch presence at the center spot. A year earlier, they took Klay Santos at No. 55. After seasoning in Santa Cruz, the Brazilian forward earned his spot on the roster in 2023. And let's not forget Tracy Jackson-Davis, nabbed at No. 57 in 2023, who earned a $7.6 million contract straight out of the gate after outperforming his draft projection. So while this trade might look minor on paper, the Warriors have proven they know how to make late picks count. What happens next? The real story will unfold in Thursday's second round, especially if Golden State ends up using both picks. Whether they land hidden gems or long-term projects, it sets up a compelling storyline for NBA Summer League, where these picks will get their first real test. If nothing else, the deal signals that the Warriors are still playing the long game, balancing roster development, cap flexibility, and potential upside, all while keeping an eye on the post-Steph era. And if they once again strike gold at the bottom of the draft, we'll be looking back at this trade as another savvy move in Golden State's ongoing rebuild. Strategic intent. Warriors prioritize long-term vision with draft trade. While it may have seemed like the Warriors simply gifted the Phoenix Suns a better draft position, there's more beneath the surface. Golden State's decision to move down from the 41st pick to 52 and 59 reflects a deeper strategy, one centered on financial discipline and smart roster development. With rising luxury tax penalties and a top-heavy payroll, the Warriors are aiming to balance their books without sacrificing future potential. By spreading their assets across 2 later picks, they're betting on depth and development, an approach they've executed well in recent years. Draft philosophy: value isn't always found early. Golden State has proven that impactful players don't always come from high-profile selections. Just last year, they turned the 52nd pick into Quinton Post, a big man who filled a critical need with his floor spacing abilities. Similarly, they found long-term potential in Tracy Jackson-Davis, 57th overall, and Klay Santos, 55th, both of whom made positive contributions after being drafted late. This trade aligns with that same philosophy: identify undervalued talent, trust your scouting, and develop internally. Phoenix gets aggressive, and it might pay off. From the Suns' side, the move is about urgency and immediate contribution. By jumping up to No. 41, Phoenix increases their chances of landing a player who can crack the rotation quickly. With limited cap flexibility and a top-heavy roster, low-cost contributors are vital, and the Suns are making sure they don't miss their shot. They've already moved up to No. 31 as well, signaling a clear shift in strategy toward youth, energy, and versatility. League-wide impact and what's next. This kind of under-the-radar trade is becoming increasingly common as teams navigate tighter cap rules and a more competitive free agent landscape. Instead of chasing expensive veterans, franchises like Golden State are looking inward, investing in draft picks and player development as a more sustainable path forward. What's next? The focus now turns to the NBA Summer League, where Golden State's 2 late-round picks will have a chance to prove they belong. If even one of them shines, this trade could quickly shift from surprising to savvy.